I'm ready.
Well, you're a star now. Tell them who you are. Don't tell them who I am, though.
My name is Star.
That's what you are.
Right. Well, I'm working on being a star. There's not quite a star on my dressing room door yet. It's more or less like a half moon.
Yeah, I know about that dressing room. It's got air conditioning in the winter and
Yeah, it has.
solar heating in the summer.
Right, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've come up with an idea to solve some problems in Campbell County. I'm going to tell you about it in a few minutes. I'm going to repeat it again tomorrow night.
Okay, do that.
But I have come up with the ultimate solution. This will absolutely revolutionize
The whole county.
the county.
All right.
By the way,
In other words, it's going to start a revolution, is what
well, it might start a revolution, but I tell you, it's fantastic what I've thought of. I mean, I have got the supreme plan. It just solves so many problems. I'll be tickled to death to just reveal this to the world without being paid or compensated in any way. I get my satisfaction just knowing I've done a good deed.
Right. And I'll put on my tombstone, Lord knows I tried.
Yep. So what do you got going on, Bobby T?
Well, you know, I got a little business going on up there at my place. I've got a good line of tires and tire repair.
You still got your
Still got my tire man. Yeah.
okay.
And he is under surveillance.
Under surveillance.
He's a pretty good mechanic.
He makes too good of prices on tires, folks. If you want to get a deal, go see him. What's his name?
Yeah.
Chuck. Go see Chuck.
Right. Come see Chuck. And also, if you need any repairs to your automobile, Chuck is a good mechanic. He fixed the truck yesterday afternoon and this morning. So this fellow had dragged it all over the follet to different mechanics, and they couldn't fix it. And Chuck had it going as soon as we found the parts, you know.
What's wrong with it?
Well, they had put a V8 engine in a Chevrolet S10, which, you know, ordinarily only takes a V6 at the most.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them four-wheel drive took a 4.3, most of them took a 2.8.
Mm-hmm.
And they had cobbled up the transmission trying to 4-speed, trying to put it in there. It did not even have a slave cylinder for the clutch. It did not have a neutral start switch. You know where you put the...
Yeah, they got them on straight shifts now.
Huh?
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
You have to push clutch in to start
Right.
them. They used to be just on automatics.
Well, none of the wires were hooked up to the transmission to indicate any, you know, what they were supposed to indicate. The clutch did not have, well, they just had a bunch of stuff, and when we finally figured out what all we needed,
You went up
and got the
Napa?
parts, it didn't take too long to fix it.
Did you go up to Napa?
Didn't have to go and get any new parts at all. We were able to get parts off of used vehicles.
Well,
But that's where we would have gone if we'd had to go.
if you needed new parts, you wouldn't have had to wait if you just gone up Napa. That's NAPA,
Very
some
true.
IGA,
Very true. That's the National Auto Parts Association.
5629406. All your auto parts needs.
And they got exactly what you needed, and I'm sure if they did not have the parts we need, they could have got them right in here. But we didn't quite know what to order because it was not the transmission nor the motor that came in that car. And somebody had done an awful lot of work on it, but they didn't know what they were doing.
Well, usually you can't get a V8 and an S10 unless you put headers on it. Would it have headers on it? Well, I don't know how they got it in there. You also have to
a
change
350 in there.
Yeah, you also have to change the steering gear.
Don't know that they changed the steering. They may possibly have.
I don't know. What model was the S10?
I think it's about 95, 96.
Well, I don't know about a 95 or 96. It may have come out with a V8, a V6, I mean a 4.3 originally, which would make things different. But when they used to come out with 2.8s in them, you had to put a an exhaust system on them out of 2 different year model cars. One of them was an older model, and you could have some headers made, but you could use a older model V8 exhaust system for one side, a different year model for the other side, and then you had to get a different steering gear if it was a power steering. That's what everybody wanted. You had to get a different steering gear to hit the motor. And then you had to make the mounts for the thing, and you could put a V8 in there. And people used to use a stroked 350. And what that was, they had it change the crank. I think you put a 400 crank in a 350 block, and ended up with something like a 383 or something like that, some oddball displacement.
What that do, make the oil pan higher or what?
No, what it done was made just a rolling wreck with a whole lot of money tied up in it.
I guarantee you. But you know, one thing I always liked was when Chevrolet came out with V8s and 55.
Yeah.
If you had a 37, 38 Chevrolet, it wasn't no trouble to drop one of those V8, one of those V8s in one of those 6-cylinder cars.
Yeah, you could go that way, but you know you couldn't put the 6-cylinder in the V8 car.
No, it's a little bit more difficult, I imagine.
It was longer, and you couldn't get the radiator in.
Right, I know that. Yeah, and
I had a 57 Chevrolet with a V8 in it, and I had a good, and the motor wasn't no count, and I had a good straight 6, and I wanted to put the 6-cylinder in there, and couldn't do it because the radiator was in the way, and there wasn't nowhere to move it out. Just remodeling the whole thing. The motor was longer, and them there old 6-cylinder Chevrolets back then, you couldn't get the oil pan off of them without taking the motor out. That just ruined everything. You're trying to overhaul one in the car.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
I had about I guess I was a 54, 55, 2.5 ton Chevrolet truck.
Yep.
That I haul logs on.
A log hauler.
Yeah. And
an old log hauler, he drives a big
now
truck.
that thing, hey, it had the low end torque.
Well, they had them there 292 Chevrolet V6s in them. They were long stroke 250s, what they were, and they had low end torque. They didn't have no top end. You'd burn them up trying to race them, but you could hook them to a house and put them in Bulldog and sit there to lunch, and it'd pull the house down.
Right. Yeah. Well, it would come out of the hole, you know, that low end torque. Well,
but it topped out about 45.
Yeah, that was downhill.
Yeah.
Well, I decided I was going to put me a 261 in that
265.
truck. No, 261 6-cylinder.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 261 6-cylinder.
Well, 265 was a 55 V8.
Yeah, I took one out of a GMC truck, a 261, and it was longer than the 250 that was in there, and I had to move the radiator forward to get it in that truck.
You know, 261, did it have Babbitt bearings in it?
It didn't.
And did it?
I think it did. Yeah.
You know, there's some of them you had to take the bearings out of so often and pour you some new bearings.
I know. Yeah, I know about that.
I never did fool with that much, but
So I fooled with a few old cars in my time, but you know.
And that's just a little bit before my tinkering days. I come along with in them there 265s and 283s and the 6-cylinders that went along with that. There's a 235.
Right. I had a little, I guess that was a 50 model Chevrolet with a 235 in it, and it got to knocking, pistons got to swapping holes, that sort of thing, you know, and it didn't have full pressure oil system on it, so we decided we were going to change it and put a 261 truck engine in it. And we went over to a friend of mine's house, and 3 of us got on that thing about 5 o'clock one evening when we got off from work. Midnight, we had that 261 in there, purring just like it should, had everything moved around, and I left there with a 261 engine in there.
Did you haul any logs?
No, that's a little Chevrolet coupe.
Oh,
And
that's before they come out of the V8s then, wasn't it?
yeah, well, no, this was in 57,
Okay.
56, 57 when they come out with V's. But I put a 261 in there. I had a set of Fenton headers that we put on it. And I had 900 tires on the rear.
915.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
when it snowed, I could let them things down to about high pressure, and it'd go just like a bulldozer.
It'd have gone better if you left air in. It'd have gone better if you left air in.
Oh, I don't know what it was or not.
It sheds the snow. It sheds the ice if you've got the tread spread out. If you got pink
Yeah, but
shin.
it's kind of like snowshoes.
Yeah. Okay.
I never did have any problem going, you know. It didn't slip and slide in with them tires down.
I had a little old Toyota like that when I've got up yonder.
Okay.
That sucker would absolutely climb a tree in the snow. I drove it in and out in the snow. Never did have no trouble. I tried to push it. I mean, I'd stop on, you know that hill up there? After you go by Morton's and start up the hill up toward the graveyard there?
Yeah.
I had to stop there one time. There's people hung all over the road, and I'm in that little old car, no chains. And I had to stop before everybody else got out of the road, and I pulled out and went on.
Right.
I tried to push Joe McDavis out there, just push him out of the road.
Right.
It wouldn't push it. It'd pull out and go on, but it would not push anything else. It'd just
Right.
take itself.
Right.
And the only time I ever got stuck with it, it took me, we had a whole lot of snow in the summer, in the winter of 94, 95, and I don't remember what time of the year it was, probably January, February of 95. But it took me a week to get out of the driveway because I couldn't, it was so low. I'd push the snow up, and I'd push it up and run back and push it a little further, and I'd jump over it and start again, and then it'd start heating up, and I'd go to the house and come back after a while, and it took me about 3 days to get out of the driveway.
How about that?
And I'd run out there and I'd run up to the hump, and if I didn't make it across, you know, it'd start heating up. It never did have a good cooling system. But anyway, I finally got out, and then I got a fella to clean my road off so I could get in and out. But that's the only time I ever failed to go. Them guys in them there four-wheel drive trucks would be just stuck all over the place, but they just stuck in deep snow, and I just go right on.
I had old 73 four-wheel drive, 3/4 ton Ford pickup.
Yeah,
Four-wheel drive, automatic.
yeah.
And the old buddy of mine, he's wanting to ride.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We appreciate you watching.
He's wanting to ride to work with me because we had 18 inches of snow. And so we put the old truck in four-wheel drive, and
What?
we headed up the road.
I'm on television.
And 18 inches of snow. Of course, they'd scraped a bunch of it off the
Everything
road.
all right?
There wasn't 18 inches on the road entirely. But we had 18 inches of snow, and we were going up the road, and we were working second shift.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I was cooking short order second shift.
Where at?
Huh?
Where at?
In High Point, North
Okay.
Carolina. And it snowed. We had 18 inches, and it snowed the rest of that afternoon, and right on up till we got out of work. Well, we decided we'd go down Rabbit Town Road rather than taking Flint Hill Road like we'd come up. Because Rabbit Town Road was a little bit more downhill and not so much up and down like Flint Hill Road was. So we were heading down Rabbit Town Road, and hadn't been too many cars along. There wasn't too many tracks, but we were running right in the center of the road. And all of a sudden, we realized somebody had parked a white Ford Galaxy in the middle of the road in all that white snow. Well, I was running along in high gear, four-wheel drive, probably 45 or 50, maybe 55 miles. I mean, that's the way I always drive. Running 45, 50, maybe 55 miles per hour.
Not too smart.
Here that car loomed up in front of us. Well, I knew what was on either side of the road. The road was about 6 feet higher than the ground on the other side of it. But off that road we went. I hit the bottom there, and I knew there was a little old creek down there at the bottom, and that was going to give me trouble. So as soon as I got that thing righted, I just floorboarded it. Down across that bottom we went with the road up here, hit that creek, bounced up on the other side, kept a digging and a clawing. I finally clawed my way back up on the main road. I looked over there at my buddy, Donald. He's a pretty good sized guy. And he had shrunk up so I believe I could have put him in the glove box.
Well, that ain't good. I'm going to reveal my plan to revolutionize this county, and I'm going to repeat it again tomorrow night.
Okay.
I'm thinking that if we could get the county to put solar panels on the roofs of our houses, we could let them do that for free and maybe help them keep them cleaned off, and they wouldn't have to charge us any property taxes. They'd actually make a profit off of us.
Well, according to their figures, it would.
Well, I'm thinking that that's the way to go, because just look at the money they'll take in, and it won't cost them nothing. I mean, them our solar panels would pay for themselves for 2 or 3 years. They'll have all that.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, and they'll have all that free money coming in after that. And we will have to contract to, maybe wash them off once a week or something. Just go up on top of the house and wash them off.
Right.
And we'll have whatever it takes on every house to pay for the county, not charge us any property taxes. And we'll have an influx of people. We'll have people come from all over the place that'll actually bring money and know-how and expertise to this county to help us progress, and we'll have everything going. We'll have the best
solar panel will travel.
Yeah, we'll have the best school system in the state, and it will be totally property tax free. That'll attract all sorts of business. Don't you think Walmart would be tickled to death to stay here if they didn't have to pay no property taxes? Just put a few solar panels on the roof.
Right.
I don't see any way to lose.
I don't either. I mean, it's a magnificent idea that the county has come up with these solar panels.
I can just foresee so many possibilities. I can also foresee where Dixie Concrete might want to pour a few pads out on people's farms.
Yeah.
They got that indestructible concrete. They can pour some of them pads around and set up some of our solar panels.
I guarantee the pads will be there when you need to replace the solar panels.
I've got 40 acres out there in front of my house that I was thinking about leasing out to some solar panel, some electricity company. And maybe we could get rich doing that, you reckon?
Well, I've got 70-some acres down North Carolina. Maybe I could do that, How do you put a solar panel on top of a pine tree?
I don't know, but I think that it was... I think that it's just good in Tennessee. You ain't got enough sunshine in North Carolina.
Well, no, this is the sunshine capital of the world. Here's the reason they come up with that solar panel idea. But, how can you guarantee, now this is my problem with your plan, how can you guarantee that the sun is going to shine on the solar panels on my house as much as they do on somebody else's?
Well, that don't make no difference. I mean, what difference? I've just got assurance from the people that know what they're doing that we can't lose.
Well, no, I think we'll let the county commission take over all of our finances.
I just can't see any way to lose. It's a foolproof plan.
No, it sounds like foolproof to me.
You're a foolish one. If you need any Dixie Concrete to put your solar panels on, or to pave your driveway, or for anything else, be sure and give them a call. They're down there on the old highway. They good people. They've got boat anchors.
Yeah, they have.
Some of the boatest anchors you'll ever see.
Right.
No steps.
No, no.
But they got the makings if you want to frame them out.
They'll pour them,
Yep. Me and Bob ain't got enough leg room here.
Right, there you go.
Back up here so I might want to scratch or something. Don't want to turn the table over.
Not like old boy, we fixed his car today, and I mean, he just didn't have no clutches and have nothing. He says, "Now I'm not going to have to pound the clutch all the way to the floor to get it to disengage. I said, no. I said, we actually cut a little panel out there where you can push it in far enough and change it with your toes.
Did you do that?
I just picking on him. Oh, we got it where it changes perfect.
That's what you do, is you just let the clutch go down further, just cut a hole in the floorboard. You might lose a kid or two out the bottom, but, you know, there's plenty of them around.
You know, one of the things I think that has really kept me going throughout my entire life has been my sense of humor.
Well, you have to laugh, Bob. Everybody else is laughing at you.
I mean, I can see something funny in anything, you know. And
you wouldn't be making light of my plan to save the county.
No. Nothing as foolproof as that. Now, I would not make fun of that.
Yeah.
In fact, the county would be wise to go ahead and put all the bills for putting the solar panels on these individual houses, and
they ought to make it. They ought to make it a law that every time you go down and get a building permit, that they just give you the building permit and come out and measure for the solar panel.
Right? Yeah, I think so. I mean, why let all this wonderful sunlight we got going up here go to waste?
Yeah, and it's all free.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough sunlight falls on 1 acre to run 14 homes.
Probably, yeah.
All we got to do is capture a little bit of it there, you know.
Right, yeah. Of course, you know, you don't want to use that power to run the house.
No, you want to sell it
because
TVA.
you want to sell it. You know, it's economically better to sell it to TVA for $11 11 cents a kilowatt.
Yeah.
And buy it back for 13 cents a kilowatt.
Yep.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's got to live and have a little bit of the pie.
Well, you got to have that other 2% there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to live off 2%,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, you don't want it. You don't want to use it in your house to run your appliances and your lights. You want to sell it to TVA for 11 cents a kilowatt and then buy it back for 13 cents a kilowatt.
I highly recommend it. You folks might want to check into this and see your contractor. Me and Bob may start installing these things.
Yeah.
Just as soon as we get a contract with the county.
Yeah.
And if you want somebody to do it right, we'll get somebody else.
I mean, what can you do wrong with the sun?
No, you just put it up there and hook the wires up. I reckon it's practically
do,
maintenance free. You got to wash it off once a year.
Tie it down where the wind won't blow it away.
Yeah, and let the rain wash it once a year. You got to kind of get up there and scratch the bird whackings off of it.
Yeah.
I think I've got just a very ingenious plan. I can just see into the future where, I mean, John D. Rockefeller ain't got nothing on me.
Said that right. The John D. Rockefeller of solar energy.
Boone Pickens, he didn't know what he was letting slip by. We're going to be rich and famous. But I just want to give this idea away. I want the county to just get this thing set up so we don't have to pay any taxes. I mean, wouldn't that be grand not to have to pay taxes?
Oh, no. Well, they probably wouldn't take this idea. You got to give somebody to come in there and give a high-powered sales pitch.
I hear they're going to have one of them next week. They done sold it. I don't know what they're doing talking about it.
He's coming to keep them from having buyer's remorse.
Oh, yeah, well.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't got buyer's remorse. I'm going to volunteer my house to get solar panels.
I guarantee you once that commission gets paid on that sale,
yeah.
You know what he's going to say?
What's that?
I'm going to Disney World.
No, he's going to say I'm going to go sell a train motor. You don't think he'd go to Disney World, do you?
I think he's going to Disney World once they pay commission on that sale.
Ooh.
Can you imagine making a $2.3 million sale?
No, I can't even imagine that. I do well to make it $2.3. Oh, by the way, you need to buy any sheetrock?
Do I want to buy any?
Yeah.
Possibly.
You need any short enough?
Maybe, yeah.
I've got about 500 or 600 sheets coming in tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
And I've got them
I'll figure out what I need.
It's that textured sheetrock like they put in mobile homes, and I've got them strips goes in the dividers too.
Well, I need some for the ceilings, where it's water damage out
Yeah.
yonder. And so that's my girlfriend till I call her back.
And no, it ain't.
Okay. If it's somebody else's girlfriend,
It
till
may
I call
be.
her back. Ho, ho, ho. You know, how's the dancing going along?
I've got been having this. They got an excellent show up there. I've been streaming the thing here and let it loop, and I've had a whole bunch of people watch it. I just put it on there, and it's just like a live show. In fact, some people thought it was live last Saturday night, but it's filmed Friday night.
Right.
But I just let it loop, and I've got another thing I did at Fratersville commemoration down there when they had that thing back last May. The 100.
Well, let me ask you something. Have you?
Well, I'm gonna stream it again after this show and leave it on tonight.
Have you ever looked into? I believe it was down at.
I went to the Cornbread Festival and got there a week early.
McMinn County.
Muse?
Huh?
Muse?
McMinn County.
Yeah.
Where the veterans run the sheriff's department out right after.
We're going to have a special on that the last part of tomorrow night.
Okay.
We're going to run the video on it.
Right. Okay.
The Athens Rebellion.
Down at Athens, and they finally, so desperate for.
Yeah, they went in there and took over the. I mean, they were stealing the election, and the veterans come back from the war, and they were stealing. They tried to steal the ballot boxes, and them guys went and stormed the courthouse. I'm going to have that show tomorrow night. I'm going to show it the last.
Good. Well, what I was going to tell you,
15 minutes or so tomorrow night.
To reinforce the sheriff's department, that some fella come through town and they gave him a ticket, and instead of making him pay the ticket, just gave him a badge and gun and deputized him right on the spot.
I didn't know about that. But that's that. I'll have that tomorrow night. I'm glad you brung that up.
Yeah.
You're just reading my mind.
Yeah, I didn't know what I didn't know whether you had ever looked into that or not.
Yeah, buddy, got a video on it tomorrow night. It's just, it's.
Well, now let me tell you something, and I'm for law enforcement and civil safety and that sort of thing, But let me ask you, I don't know in any other place that I've ever been, we let the tags run out on my brook. I didn't know it because I was letting that boy drive it, and I forgot that they were due and where he parked it. I never looked at the tags or anything. It was really my fault. I should have kept up when my tags were due. But what would be the object? What would be the odds in any other city or county other than Campbell or LaPolly of riding out to get a pack of cigarettes at 11 o'clock at night and be charged with running with illegal tags?
Well, I don't know. Driving that brook, I'd look at it real close if I was lucky.
Well, I can understand that, but what is the odds of having a policeman riding around looking for something at 11 o'clock at night on the main thoroughfare?
Pretty good around here.
Yeah, I mean they fish Jasper Pike. They fish it and seine it and trap it and everything.
Well, they was working down at Kerrville 2 weeks ago.
Huh?
They was sure working down at Kerrville 2 weeks ago. They just had a tag team thing going there.
Right.
Times is hard, I guess. How much did it cost you?
Well, I don't know. It's we'll get tags for it, and it'll go before His Honor in city court. And I think
they'll throw the book at you.
Huh?
They're going to throw the book at you.
Well, yeah, but I would think that they ought to show a little bit of leniency if you go ahead and take care of something a few days after it was due, rather than waiting 14 years.
This ain't a helping your case at all.
Huh?
This ain't a helping your case at all.
I don't care. They ain't do nothing but charge me for the ticket, you know.
I don't know. They can put you in jail.
I'll probably get 3 to 5 out of this.
You get to, what was it? She got to, they'll get the money and you'll get the shaft.
Yeah,
like Jerry Reed.
Yeah. Oh Lord, I just, you know, I travel around a lot, and I never see law enforcement officers on the prowl as much as I do here in La Follette.
That's right.
I mean, they're good people. And I had one banging on my door last night.
I don't know.
Okay, and he was needing a little bit more information on the theft that I had, and I think we had located my computer. And,
you got your computer stole?
I had a computer stole about 3 or 4 weeks ago, yeah. And I mean, I helped them out a little bit. I told them who stole it, and I told them where they sold it.
Yeah.
You know, and all that. I mean, with a starting them breathing like that, you know.
No deputy dog detective worked there, was he?
Yeah. And of course, I never did hear nothing about my tires. You know, lady sat right there, just 50, 60 feet from where we at.
Yeah.
Watched them load my tires all up and knew who it was and identified them. And they come down there to see me 2 or 3 times. I called them up and said, well, we've been out trying to catch you 2 or 3 times. I said, you don't need to see me. I said, you need to verify with this lady who stole. I told them who stole them. And the guy they said sold them, that was his kind of truck, you know, that he had. And she recognized the girl that was with her, woman that was with her. And we gave all that information to them, but you know, we never heard anything. They have to prioritize what they do.
Yeah, it's more important to catch people with their tags expired than it is somebody stealing something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You know, we let the tags run out on a van one time and didn't notice it. And it was about 3 months past due when we noticed them. And we'd been to Washington, D.C. and back about a week. Been all the way up the coast, you know, up through Virginia Beach and that area and over through Washington, D.C. and back, went up through North Carolina and back down through Kentucky. And no tags.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I took a trip in a motorhome, and I had a trailer behind it, and I had a little convertible car on it, and I carried a big grill and a whole bunch of stuff, because we just partied all the way down the East Coast, you know, grilled out there. I had to have these 2 girls with me. And went all the way down through Georgia, went all the way down to Miami, Florida, and come back up to the West Coast, and went over and come back up through Alabama, and come all the way back around. I probably hit part of Tennessee. I don't remember exactly how we come. No, we went to St. Louis, Missouri, and visited some friends, and come on back around, and I came up I-85 and into High Point, North Carolina, and I turned up Brentwood Street there to go home, which I lived down off of Brentwood Street, and I got up at Brentwood Street.
That's where O.J. Simpson lived, wasn't it, Brentwood?
Yeah, no, he didn't live close to me. But when I pulled out up there, they were having a driver's license check.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize my driver's license had been out 30 days. Well, probably in June. They run out in June. This was in August. They had been out 60 days, you know. But I just thought I'd been all that distance around, all the way out to St. Louis, Missouri, and back up through here on I-40, and get back home and be within 3 or 4 blocks of the house, and they catch me for not having any driver's license.
What'd they charge you?
I don't even remember. That was like in this great.
Back in 1812, wasn't it? Back in this first inventing cars?
16, 17 years ago.
So what else is happening, Bobby T? Did you know that you can get some of that there wonderful propane down there at Wilson's Gas in the middle of the road in Sawmill Holler, 562-5444.
I guarantee you.
I'm going to have to go over and light that, and it's cooling off.
I'll tell you how good it is.
How good is it?
And you know I'm pretty easy going. I'm don't get riled up or get mad very often. That propane is so good that I let a man who was way back in line, he come run up there and got in front of me to get his propane.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he had a shiny truck now. That gives you the right to get in front of everybody. Yeah. He pulls up there, he had a late model Ford pickup 2-ton truck. 2-tone truck. I guess it was probably a 150 pickup. And I was so anxious to get some of that good propane, I didn't jump out and jerk a bow knot in his tail for pulling in front of everybody. I just let him go ahead and get his propane because I knew how good that propane was, and he was desperately wanting some of that good propane.
I don't much like people like that.
I don't think, I don't see how in the world people, you got a line of traffic here waiting to pull up and back into Digger's filling station,
Mm-hmm.
And some of them had got out their car and carried it around, and here he pulls up there just like nobody was there but him, backed in there and gets his tank filled up, and of course Digger, he can't keep up with who's first and who's not. You have to rely on people being decent,
Yeah.
But some of these people I know are direct descendants of Mr. Magoo.
You're sad.
They don't see nobody else but their own self. You remember Mr. Magoo? He'd walk along and there'd be pianos falling out of windows, and he'd land beside him. He didn't pay no attention to him. He was oblivious to everything but himself.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way these guys are. And while I'm on my soapbox, when it's raining, and any time you have your windshield wipers on, it's a state law that you're supposed to have your lights on.
But I've got Rain-X on mine. I don't have to turn them on anymore.
Okay. Well, new automobiles, your lights automatically come on. You turn your wipers on. But I see these guys coming in these big trucks, just a ramrodding that thing up the road, and they drive that thing. Well, I don't need no lights on. I can see where I'm going. They don't realize that you turn the lights on so the other people can see you. And I get so ill. Here they come. They're usually running faster than anybody else. No lights on. Everybody else got their lights on, but they don't have theirs on.
Mm-hmm. I understand, Bob. Digger's got that flavored propane. If you want that hickory smoke smell whenever you burn it, just has the faintest little touch of hickory to it.
Right.
You don't have to get it unless you want it. But if you'll request that hickory flavor, and just when he light that thing up at Mr. Heater,
Well,
just sit there and let your imagination run wild. You'll pretend you can believe you're out in the woods
somewhere. It will
somewhere.
make you recall the days of your youth when you used to ride back.
Yeah, back when you was fighting Indians and stuff.
Yeah, I said that right. You could sit there,
Native Americans.
And that's the way I did. I was wondering I ain't bow-legged.
I know it.
Every time we sat down at night after the evening meal, you had a bowl of something between your legs. You were either shelling peas or you were
breaking beans.
Yeah. You were doing something,
Getting the seeds out of the cotton.
Yeah. Well, we did that one time. We fussed so much about the tobacco. My dad said, "Boy, I'm gonna show you what work is. So we'll raise 2 acres of cotton." I thought we'd never get that cotton picked.
What was wrong with you?
It just wasn't my kind of work,
You drag that big sack along behind?
My daddy's a little bitty man, but he said he could pick 100 pounds of cotton a day,
Yeah. How big is a little bitty man?
He and Mama were, well, he's a little small man, compared to what boys he had. You know, he and Mama were the same height and the same weight. They were 5'7", and both of them weighed 135 pounds.
Well, what'd they do? You fellas stand you in horse hockey or something, make you to grow?
Well, I've got had one brother that was 6'5".
Gee.
And
he's the run of the family, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, what did your daddy think about having a boy that tall?
He said, well, it's all right. they never saved for my daddy. My daddy, he wouldn't take no saving. I don't know if my mom and daddy were ever saved by any of their children.
Well, that's all right.
Now, when I got grown, my daddy, he'd tell me exactly what I ought to do, and I said, yes, sir, and I'm going to do what I want to do. But I never saved him. I never smoked in front of him when I smoked, and loved him to death. He would do anything for his children that you needed done, long as it was right.
As long as legal?
Yeah, well, you know, and but all of us were too proud to ever ask him to do anything. And I know he come lived in my house 12 years, and put all his money in the bank, sent the church about, I think sent the church about $5,000 a year, you know, and which is fine with me. I didn't want him to pay me anything, but he says, this is the office house everything. Says, don't you ever need any groceries or anything? I said, well, yeah, once in a while, so I'll holler when I need some. But they lived at my house 12 years and loved every minute they worked to live there. And I know my dad, he's kind of like me, is hard of hearing.
Huh?
Yeah. But they had good eyesight like I do. And he'd sit over there with, in late in the afternoon with no lights on, no glasses on, read the newspaper when he was 90-some years old. And I know my mother was sitting over there, and Mama was us to cut up, you know. And she said, I wish you'd look at your daddy over there. Says he's got so old he ain't good for nothing. Daddy's sitting over there reading the paper. And my den was 22 foot long, and they were sitting catty corner from one another. So that meant they were sitting 25, 26 feet apart. And she says, got so he ain't no good for nothing. Says, I think I'll just up and divorce him. Daddy never looked up from the paper. He said, he never called my mother by her name. He says, you tell that woman I'll pay for it.
You know, I used to have this great uncle that him and his wife always fussed around with each other, but you couldn't split them up tall.
Right.
They was sitting there on the porch one time, and now how did that go? There's an airplane went over, and he looked up and he heard that airplane. He said, you know, I wish you was on that airplane and you couldn't get off of it. She said, if I was on that airplane, I wouldn't want off of it. And he couldn't get nothing on her, and then she died, and he like to went crazy.
He got what?
She died, and he didn't know what to do with himself. He's just a fool. He lived to be. She died when he was about, I'm going to say 82
right.
or 3, and then he lived to be and lived another 10 years.
Right.
And he was just lost. He didn't know what to do.
Right. Oh, while you looking up, how about looking up the Andrews sisters, the singers that died on your little...
I looked it up before, didn't I?
No, not the Andrews sisters, you didn't.
I did, you just wasn't around.
Huh?
I did, you just wasn't around.
Patty, Laverne, and Maxine.
Andrews sisters. I guess they're cousins, ain't they?
I think so. Let's see what.
The Andrews Sisters were an American close harmony singing group of the swing and boogie-woogie era. The group consisted of 3 sisters: contralto Laverne, Sophia; soprano Maxine and Angeline; Maxine, and mezzo-soprano Patricia Marie, they called her Patty.
Patty. She was young.
They were active from 1925 to 1967. They started in Minnesota.
Where were they born?
Minnesota.
Huh?
Minnesota.
Were they? Okay.
Let's see. Let's get some more information on them here. See who's dead and who ain't. I know everybody out there just anxious to hear the history of the Andrews sisters. Boy, they wasn't too pretty.
No, they wasn't. Must have took off their mama's side of the family.
Retirement and death, I guess so. It says instrumental to the sisters' success over the years were their parents, Olga and Peter, their orchestra leader and musical arranger, Vic Schoen, music publisher Lou Levy, who died only days after Maxine. And
well, the last one of them just died last week, the baby girl, Patty.
Let's see here. Laverne died in 1995, and so did Maxine. Patty.
She died last week, a week before last.
Patty Andrews died of natural causes at her home in Northridge, California on January the 30th of 2013.
Okay. Something that had an anniversary, I believe, last week was the sit-in at Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. Look that up. I can't remember what year it happened, but I was teaching school, and I used to go up and sit in with those guys that were sitting.
No, they have free coffee or something?
Well, no, they wouldn't serve them at all. See, because you know, I'd sit down at the lunch counter, and they'd come over and ask me what I wanted. I said, well, I'm going to have whatever these guys over here having. Well, they wasn't having nothing because they wouldn't serve them.
We're at We're at Greensboro?
Yeah, Greensboro, North Carolina, Woolworth's lunch counter. Or
this is history, folks. It says the Woolworth's Greensboro sit-in does not exist. Well, we just had to look at it a different way. Copy.
Yeah, Woolworth's lunch counter. Yeah, that's what you want.
February 1st, 1960.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was teaching school. My wife was working at the bank just right up the street.
That's every man's dream, have a wife works at, that's every man's dream, have a wife works at the bank.
Across the street and catty corner from the old Woolworth's building there. And I come up there after school and pick her up because we couldn't afford but one automobile, you know. And, well, we actually were
There they are.
We actually were living. Now, who were the principals there?
This is first day was Ezel A. Blair Jr. He's now called Jibril Kazan, Franklin E. McCain, Joseph A. McNeil. He's all Irishman, wasn't he?
Right, yeah.
And David L. Richmond.
Well, yeah, those are the poor guys that, you know, I go in, you know, they ask me to come over and serve me and say, what do you want? I said, well, same thing they got. They eat, you know, because they wouldn't serve them.
Yeah.
And, which I thought was terrible because you had black people working behind the counter.
Yeah, right there.
I sat right up there on the other side.
Now, there's a black guy not allowed to serve these other folk over here.
Right, yeah. And
there was William Smith and Clarence Henderson joined them other two on the second day.
So I was part of that 1960 Woolworth City.
I'm looking for a picture of Bob Andrews here.
No,
you ain't got no pictures of you.
It may not. I don't ever remember being involved in any picture taking, you know.
If you happen to need, if you drink any more of that there polluted tomato juice, what are you going to do?
Well, no, you know, even though I feel a little bit more comfortable if I were to drink some, knowing that I would have VitaCare that I could call.
Yeah. 562-9370.
That's it. That's the number to call. Or you can call 911 and tell them you want VitaCare.
Yeah, you can do that. You can tell them I don't want just any kind of care. I want vital care.
Right. And they'll come and get you. They give you tender loving care. They know what they're doing because John Bond's been in business for 40-some years. And you know, I just don't know, you know, why we don't just contract our emergency service out like Knox County and Knoxville does. You know, it don't cost them anything to operate their ambulance service.
Well, it does around here, but VitalCare don't charge the county nothing.
Oh, I know that. But you know, we're spending like, well, you know, a lot of times we have to come up with many dollars to put the ambulance service on a sound financial footing.
If they'd put solar panels on them ambulances, they wouldn't have to do that.
You reckon they couldn't put solar panels on the ambulances themselves?
Yeah, I don't see why they couldn't. Just plug them in every now and then.
If you got hurt,
you're going to have a battery. You can charge them, and then you plug them in at night and drain the juice out of them.
Right, yeah. Well, you could tell somebody, look, we won't be able to come till the sun shines. So, yeah, that's a pretty good idea there, you know.
It says here that a man left work on one Friday afternoon, but being payday, instead of going home, he stayed out the entire weekend partying with boys and spending his entire paycheck. When he finally appeared at home Sunday night, he was confronted by a very angry wife who harangued, I think it should be harangued, but anyway, for nearly 2 hours with a tirade befitting his actions. Finally, his wife stopped the nagging and simply said to him, "How would you like it if you didn't see me for 2 or 3 days?" To which he replied, "I would like that. That'd just be fine with me." Monday went by and he didn't see his wife. Tuesday and Wednesday came and went and he still didn't see her. But on Thursday, the swelling had gone down just enough where he could see her a little bit out of one eye. How'd I do? Got any more jokes? Send them too. We ain't gonna be here for another 7 minutes, so you better get a good one.
You know, I have never, other than one time, me and my first wife got into an argument and everything. I went to Florida and stayed 13 days. But I don't know if I've ever come up missing.
Well, I hope I don't. I don't want everyone to be missing. I might want to know. I always want to know where I'm at. We just carry on conversations here with our audience and everything, folks. If you want to email me at ronnie at hillbilly.tv, or if you want to send a text message to 423-494-5020, or if you just want to call at 562-2676, we got another.
Or if you need to buy something, just call me at 423-201-5917.
And then maybe somebody will tell him his phone's ringing and he'll answer it.
Well, yeah, well, see what I do. I don't ever hear the thing. It rings so low until it gets to the last ring, it goes brrrp. And
what it is, you can't hear it no matter how hard it rings.
Well, that's probably very true. You know, I've had it on vibration.
No, I got a new ringtone. See what you think of this. Let me see if I can get this thing to work. Let's see here.
What, me? You gonna ring me?
No, I'm gonna play my ringtone.
Oh.
Let's see here.
Oh, folks, incidentally, Carolina's playing on TV tonight on ESP.
Like I care. What, are they playing football?
Playing basketball.
Basketball. You know, I heard that they had a Super Bowl over the weekend.
Had what?
Super Bowl over the weekend.
I don't know. All I saw was Beyonce. She was so electrifying that she made all the lights go off in the Superdome. That's my theme song, folks. So, yep, you got to put your hand over your heart when you hear Dixie. Say, I wish I were in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Have you ever heard a Glenn Campbell play?
That's enough of the hymn.
Huh?
That's enough of the hymn.
Have you ever heard Glenn Campbell play Dixie on the bagpipe?
No, I've heard him play Amazing Grace.
Yeah, I have too.
Does he play Dixie on the bagpipe?
Yeah.
I never ever heard that.
Yeah, he can play a number of different instruments. He's
I know that.
Very accomplished musician. Well, folks, we're getting ready to sign off here in just a minute. We got about, what, 3 or 4 more minutes of airtime that we paid for?
Yeah, we got about another 3 minutes or so.
Yeah, okay.
Don't forget tomorrow night on Channel 12 and also back here at UGG TV. And if you want to see that thing on the Athens Revolt, I'll have that on the last part of the show.
Right.
And I'm going to go over this here plan to eliminate property taxes in Campbell County, maybe the whole state of Tennessee.
Right.
It's a foolproof plan. I know it'll work, and we'll tell you about tomorrow night.
We could produce enough electricity for, you got, what, 5 states you can see? From
TVA will be out of business.
Sure.
And don't need more dams and boilers and stuff. And by the way, one more thing. If you want to see that there Freighterville thing we filmed sometime back, it's about an hour and a half long, and it's not edited. It's just the way we took pictures. It's the whole stream.
I didn't even know they had movies back then.
They didn't. We footed this. But anyway, I'm going to run it, start it looping right after we go off. It'll come back on shortly after that if you want to watch it. I guess that's about it for tonight. So happy trails, everybody. Appreciate you watching us. I'm going to try to get a new partner. I'm taking applications.
Right.
I want to get a good looking one the next time.
Right, and yeah, you need to think about this wonderful opportunity we have to produce all that free electricity.
I just can't see any way we can go wrong. Happy trails, folks.
See ya.
Hang on for about 2 minutes and I'll have that other show on. Thank you for watching.